Ball State Sports Link Driven is proudly presented by Stoops Automotive. Online at stoopsauto.com.
Definitely say I'm a dirtbag. I love to get dirty. I love diving all over the place.
One night I was just feeling weird and I kept doing this with my arms and there was like some numbness.
The Sports Link crew continues to churn out stories, and in this episode, we'll take a look at 3 athletes as well as take a look back at the Chirpies. It's Ball State Sports Links Driven, presented by Stoops Automotive. I'm your host, Connor Onion, and our first story takes us out to the baseball field, where the team has gotten a lot of production from third baseman Sean Kennedy in his first 2 seasons at the Ball Diamond, as it's not his glove or his bat that has probably been most impressive about Sean. It's been his character and his ability to persuade one teammate to join him on the ball field.
He just started playing at a young age and always was usually the best athlete on the field.
Nice catch, Sean!
He's light on his feet, he's fun to be around. He's just that teammate that every team really needs.
I don't really think there is a specific point where I became Sean Kennedy. I think it was a lot of different places. And I think a lot of it would be Little League fields that I played in when I was younger, because that's really where I started to develop my game.
It was a very close-knit community, and he always played on baseball teams, and everybody supported everybody on the baseball team. He continually worked at it, and I just continually reiterated the fact that you got to have a positive attitude, keep working at it, have the desire to get better, and he just kept getting better.
Woo!
From the Springboro Destroyers, Sean Kennedy.
My dad is my best friend. He was a great life teacher in general, able to implement life lessons from a young age, which also could help me in baseball too.
I always taught him to be a coachable and teachable kid, and to play the game for the love of the game, and always respect the game.
There's nothing I wouldn't do for him. He's taught me so much about life and sports and the game that I love in baseball. I definitely don't think I'd be half the man I am today without him in my life. I would definitely say I'm a dirtbag. I love to get dirty. I love diving all over the place. I'm not afraid to take one in the chest, block one up at third base, stick my nose in there. I love it. I definitely didn't know that I was going to have that much success. I knew that if I worked hard and I stayed the course, as Coach Maloney would say, that I could definitely make an impact on the team, but how great of an impact I wasn't really sure yet.
Sean Kennedy's a gritty player with a really good glove and a very consistent contact hitter. I knew when I saw him play, I said that, I think he plays the game the right way, and I think with continued strength training, he would get stronger and that it would increase his bat speed and his arm strength, and boy, it sure has. And, he's been a heck of a player for us. It's always nice when you have guys coming onto your team that already have previous friendships. It makes the adjustment to come into a new college, easier. When you have a close-knit friendship, you support one another, and I think that's what they do.
We played summer baseball together when I think we were 15. It was my sophomore summer going into my junior year. We played for the same summer ball team called the Ohio Heat. I think I do a great job of equaling his personality. We have very opposite personalities. He's very fierce. He likes to lead with his words. He's not afraid to get in people's faces. As for me, I'm not very a vocal leader. I like to lead by example. There's definitely times where I should lead using my words, and he's able to kind of kick me in the butt and get me going that way.
He helped me with making this great decision, coming to Ball State, which I can say is probably the best decision that I've made in my life. I wasn't gonna come here, and he kind of talked me into it, and he was like, come on man, you gotta go visit. Like, they really like you. I know you'll love the school. I'm kind of a hard-nosed guy. I like to get stuff done. I'm not really patient with how it's gonna get done. And Sean tends to be, he tends to be more friendly than I am to people. I'm kind of just like, this is how it has to get done, and more face-to-face.
He's extremely caring. He's always there for you, dude. He's like a gentle giant, but he definitely knows when to turn it on the field and become that fierce competitor, and I think that's awesome about him. It definitely comes with a lot of expectations this year, and we know what we have to achieve and what's expected of us, and we're just kind of go out, and also we're going to try to teach the freshmen what the seniors were able to teach us last year. I think that's what really helped us to succeed last year, was what the seniors taught us, and I hope that we're able to make the impact on the freshmen now that they were able to make on us last year.
From one stick and ball sport to the next, women's golfer Kelsey Sear grew up in a community where golf was not the #1 sport as far as being widely accepted throughout the community, but she chose to pursue golf anyway in college, and it paid off for women's golf coach Catherine Mowat.
Being Canadian, I guess a lot of people take golf as kind of a second sport. I grew up playing hockey, so a lot of my friends played hockey, and we'd all go compete in the summer with golf. So it's kind of a two-sport aspect with all my friends, and I really like that. I think I'm an aggressive player. I go for what I think I can, and even if there's a little bit of doubt, I'm like, hey, let's go for it anyway.
I always describe her as being kind of a raw golfer, in that she didn't come into the game until a little bit later, which is provides a perfect opportunity for me as a coach to recruit someone like, hey, I've never heard of this girl, but look at these scores she shot. So an under-recruited player is a great get for me, and she really represents a lot of the Canadians that I've recruited over the years who are newer to the game, haven't been exposed to a lot of big-scale tournaments, grew up playing hockey, and just decide that their passion is golf.
I feel like I'm more of a leader just because I know what to expect come the future years, and I take that leadership and use it with my teammates and encourage the freshmen, because I know I've been there before and it's not always easy, and I use that just to help everybody improve.
She's very energetic. She loves to talk. She's nonstop energy. She's incredibly funny. She's just a joy to be around as a person.
Coming in as a freshman, you're not always playing, but as a sophomore, you're more of an asset to the team. And just being like that, it's been busy, but it's really been motivating, and it teaches me, I learn something new about myself every day, and I know exactly what I need to do to stay in the lineup and perform.
I talked to her last year as a freshman about how impactful her leadership skills are, just because of her personality and her style. She's the kind of person who no one would ever have anything bad to say about, no one would dislike or even be angry with for any reason. She's just a solid individual, and works hard. She's incredibly competitive.
No matter what the outcome was at the tournament before, I always go in with the same mindset that this is going to be better, this is a way to improve. And just over the years, the things that I've seen with my game, I'm always improving, and I think taking that from tournament to tournament is a huge inspiration for me.
You know, what you think and what you say in between your shots, and going up to your shots and immediately following your shot. I mean, all that is the mental game, and confidence is a huge component of that. And so we just have to remind them to trust their process, trust their routine, believe in their shot, and be committed to the shot. And it's, it might sound easy, but being committed to every shot you're going to hit is exhausting, and that's what really tests them as athletes.
Our next subject we've been hyping up for quite some time, the Chirpies, the first ever Student Athlete Award show, and April 13th finally arrived, and it featured a little bit of everything, including the red carpet being rolled out and live music from Corey Cox. Take a look at the highlights from the big night at Emmons Auditorium.
Welcome to the Chirpies!
How much effort did this take to put this together?
It was a year worth of effort on everyone's part. You know, SAC started last year right after the student athlete banquet on this. You know, it was nonstop, even over the summer.
Live from the Chirpies.
Hey, what's up? Hey, we got another hep.
This is awkward. This isn't a hep cam. No, this is. Sorry about that, folks. We're here with Roman from baseball, and we have to ask about your outfit. Where did it come from?
Came from TJ Maxx.
And do you go there often?
Yes, I do go there often.
Are you excited for tonight? Nice. And how long did it take you to get ready?
Now, please welcome to the stage Nashville recording artist and Indiana native, Corey Cox.
Ball State University, what's going on out there tonight? I grew up one of them.
We want to make sure that you guys have a great time, and because it is your show, we want you to be involved. So make sure you're tweeting, sending us your selfies. We will be featuring a few of them up here in our breaks, and make sure you hashtag Chirpies.
And just so I can cover something, make sure everybody can see. Coach Feely over here somewhere. If you can't see, they got high chairs in the back. You can go grab.
Now, Coach,
Their service and commitment is astounding. Here are the nominees.
Caring Cardinal Award, Angela Durkak, a volunteer for the Animal Rescue Fund and Muncie White River Cleanup Project. Tanner Barton, the youngest member and national spokesperson for the Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation. Jarrett James, Student Athlete Advisory Committee and member of the Leadership Council of Athletes in Action. Tyler Ostrom, a volunteer for Muncie's Secret Families Christmas Project and his local community church. Lee Ann Matson, a volunteer teacher at Next Generation Preschool.
And the winner of this year's Caring Cardinal is Jarrett James.
This is interesting because I really was supposed to prepare an acceptance speech, but I didn't expect to win this, but.
This is crazy. First, I have to give thanks and honor and glory to my Savior, Jesus Christ, because that's not just a saying for me. He actually did heal me.
Let's take a look at the nominees.
Male Athlete of the Year, Zach Plesac.
Plesac, the pitch. Swing and a miss, strike three. The freshman All-American continues to roll this afternoon.
Lucas Anderson.
Is there anyone in the MAC that handles pressure better than Lucas Anderson? The all-conference sophomore fights back and picks up another victory.
Matt Walsh.
The Big Daddy, Matt Walsh, does it again, and he has absolutely taken the MIVA by storm in just his freshman year.
Juwan Edwards.
Miles takes the chest tie snap, turns left, gives Edwards, spins away from the tackle at the 20, angle 15-10, foot race to the 5, touchdown.
McCormick Klauser.
From tee to green, he's been a cut above the rest. And with that final round score, Klauser is your new clubhouse leader.
Thank you guys so much for coming out tonight, and a huge thank you to Ball State University, Emmons Auditorium, and Ball State Sports Link for putting this thing on. We hope to come back next year. We love y'all.
Right on the red carpet, live music from Corey Cox. And I would say the host did pretty well as well, with Connor Snare, Aaron Hepp, and of course Allie Luthman, our social media host here on Driven. 2 months in a row now that we've been able to get you on the show. But
well, it's been a pleasure each time, and we did have a lot of fun on the Chirpies. It was an overwhelming success. I think the athletes really enjoyed it, and because it was their night, we wanted to get them as involved as possible. So we encouraged them to send in their tweets. Here's an example right here from 2 members of our women's track and field team. They sent them in. We had live interactions. Here's some girls from gymnastics team. Of course, it is true, looking fabulous as ever. It was great to see everyone dressed up. They truly looked like they belonged on that red carpet. Here's a few men from our swimming team, very excited out on the red carpet, and full of enthusiasm, some members of the baseball team. And of course, we had a few selfies that were a bit, well, I'll just let it speak for itself right here. We have a tweet by Sam Brunner. I'm not sure if this was approved by John.
Does it need to be?
No, it really doesn't. It doesn't surprise you if you know him. That's definitely not out of character. So it was a lot of fun, and we're looking forward to hopefully another great year next year with the Chirpies as well.
John Godfrey, he's been on Third Down Chirp with the Hep
he's just
Cam.
a star.
He's been on the Hep Cam. Aaron Hepp actually got into bed with John Godfrey at their house, and now Sam Brunner's making him famous as well at the Chirpies. But it's time to get serious again, as we have a great story on a men's volleyball player. Julian Welsh White came over to Muncie from the East Coast, and his first 2 years in college, they were a success, but it took a turn in his junior year and forced him to ask the question, why? Here's his relationship with his mother, called A Walk to Remember by Noah Reed and Zach McClusack.
My first thought was, why her?
I mean, he'll be the first one to say his mom is everything to him.
The doctor said it was the worst case that he had ever seen.
From struggle comes strength. At a young age, my father introduced me to baseball. As a 5th grader, my Little League team went to the New Jersey State Finals. I played several sports as a child, but I decided to turn my attention to just one. The varsity volleyball coach actually saw me and told me to come out for a tournament that he was hosting while I was in 8th grade and didn't know what volleyball was. And then I remember that he said something about it when I was a freshman, so I decided to come out and try it. When I really realized that volleyball could have been a future for me, my high school coach told me to go and try out for the North Jersey team, Warren Sixpack.
We got a lot of letters from colleges that were interested in him. When we came out here, he just loved it. And that's when he said, Mom, I really want to come here.
I actually met Julian. He was at our nationals going into our freshman year of college. He's one of my best friends. It's consistently grown throughout the years, and it's awesome. Got to know him.
At Ball State, my first 2 years were going great. We were winning matches, I was making new friends, I was successful in the classroom. It wasn't until my junior year when life started to spiral down. When I found out what it was, my first thought was, why her?
One night I was just feeling weird, and I kept doing this with my arms, and there was like some numbness. It was almost like when you get chills. That was probably 2 or 3 weeks before everything really went down.
Typically it'll progress over a couple weeks period of time. So it tends to hit its peak about 2 weeks into the disease progress.
We were driving to North Carolina, and I was still uncomfortable. I had some back pain. So I guess that's the beginning of when, okay, something's going on here.
It might start off with some initial weakness, maybe tingling in the toes, that will eventually go up to the ankles and then the knees, and can even go all the way up to, involve the fingers and even higher up on the body.
My family took me to the ER 4 times, and the one time that my oldest son took me, I couldn't walk.
Guillain-Barré is itself relatively uncommon. In this particular case, the disease developed to the point where the patient went into essentially a coma.
I was in Orlando coaching Munciana for AAU Nationals, and my brother had called me. It was in the middle of the game. I'd didn't see my phone go off, and I had a couple voicemails from him. The thought definitely of losing another best friend of mine definitely went through my mind, and when I did see her, I broke down immediately. It was very hard to see someone that you love so much in the state that she was.
The doctor said it was the worst case that he had ever seen.
So if somebody was, in that kind of state for several months, it's going to be an extremely prolonged recovery time.
He had voiced to me several times that, hey, I really feel like I should be back there helping her out, if that means quitting volleyball, stopping school, whatever. I think that was what ate at him the most.
I know I couldn't go home all the time. I know I couldn't be there. It was frustrating knowing that I couldn't help.
When you have to ventilate somebody for a long period of time, you can no longer keep a tube down their throat because it starts to do damage to the structures there. Therefore, they have to put a tracheotomy in, which is bypasses things through the throat and makes, puts a hole in this area.
The last time I had actually talked to her was in June when I was still in Orlando. That's the last time I talked to her until, I think, September.
It was September 10th, 2013. I remember it well because it was the day they took the trach out. They took the pieces that were connecting to the ventilator off, removed that, and that allowed me to talk. My sister said, "Who do you want to call?"
I had a missed call from my aunt. I'd called her back, and that was just a voice I thought I'd recognize. I didn't at first.
He said, "Hello," and he thought it was my sister.
Like, yeah, this is Aunt Amy, right?
And I said, "No, it's not. You know who this is?"
As soon as I came to my mind, I was in tears. I was like, no way, this is just surreal.
For the longest time, I put off feeling any anger. So yeah, I'm angry. I'm angry that this happened to me. Even though I've been able to get a lot of my independence back. It's such a contrast from what I was before I got sick.
Knowing that she couldn't move at all, I didn't think that she would recover fully.
It seemed like once the doctor there said that I would never walk again, something clicked. I took my first steps on December 10th, so that was less than 6 months. Every time I hit a milestone, I cried.
I didn't think that she would recover fully, and seeing now that she has, it's almost like a miracle, people always call her an angel. My mom's favorite flowers are roses. They symbolize not only our love, but a sign of inspiration. After she had originally gotten sick, I was upset about it, and I was just trying to look for things that were meaningful that would symbolize how passionate I am about her. I saw a quote, so I ended up just looking for some design that I could do and where I could put it, and decided to get that for her. From struggle comes strength. February 8th, 2014. Just 2 months after my mom took her first steps, my team traveled to Princeton near my hometown. We won the match in 5, but that wasn't my focus. For the first time ever, my mom saw me play in a Ball State uniform. It was almost like a homecoming since we were back in New Jersey, so I also had a lot of friends and family there besides her. So just being able to be on the court, still be in uniform with her, getting pictures, talking to everybody, it was a great feeling. Throughout the rest of 2014, my mom continued to make progress that many described as a miracle. And there was one date she looked on both of our calendars, March 28th, 2015, senior night. Knowing the person that really just raised me, she taught me a lot of things in life that I still use today. Knowing that she's going to be out there on the court with me on such a big night.
That's what we're talking about, how great it's going to be when I can actually walk him out onto the court. My mom traveled alone for the first time since the disease nearly ended her life, to walk with me. It was extremely emotional seeing him and his mom walk out together. I think it was almost like a culminating over the mountain type experience for both of them. He's definitely been a positive influence for me. I love them, all my heart.
That concludes this episode of Driven. Thank you to Julian, Sean Kennedy, Kelsey Sear, and also the entire crew that was involved in the making of the Chirpies for allowing us to share their stories. JC Obringer is our executive producer. Our social media host was Allie Luthman. I'm your host, Connor Runyon, saying so long, and thanks for watching Ball State Sports Links Driven.